seeing all the people dying on our streets has been heartbreaking.
Now at 5, a complete 180 from the start of the pandemic. Our state used to be a leader in drug overdose deaths nationwide, but now Oregon is among states leading a decline. Good evening. Thanks for staying with us tonight. I'm Deborah Knapp.
And I'm Ricky Asway. K2's Christina Giardinelli is live in southeast Portland. Christina, Portland police say changes to Measure 110 may be helping.
Yeah, right. That is true. But they also say the widespread use of this drug right here, Narcan, is also what's helping save lives. But as you mentioned, Oregon leading the charge in that decline, or one of the states that's leading that charge, has also had significant changes to drug laws. Portland police spokesperson Kevin Allen says getting drugs off Portland's streets has become much easier since Oregon lawmakers made changes to Measure 110.
I think the biggest change is now we have the ability to take drugs away from people who are using.
Before the changes, police could only issue a fine and ask people to call a number to get help with treatment. Now they can handcuff them, confiscate drugs, and offer deflection instead of arrest.
What I hear from officers on the street is, that they feel like the work they're doing is more effective now than it was when all we could do was write a ticket.
He says officers are using deflection as a tool in efforts to crack down on open drug use and push dealers out of the city.
I think that, what we hear from our community is that things are better than they used to be, especially when we were struggling during the pandemic. I have been walking around downtown. It looks cleaner.
Recent CDC data shows Oregon is one of the states driving a national trend of overdose deaths declining. Deaths in Oregon went down by 22.11% from 2023 to 2024. That number is just under 12% in Washington and just under 25% in California. Nationwide, the decline is just under 27%. In Multnomah County, those numbers are reflected in declining drug-related 911 calls. Bureau of Emergency Management data shows drug-related calls are declining. This time last year, they were taking about 100 more calls per month.
I can only speculate how much of that is the changes in Measure 110 and the ability for the police to bring people to deflection. I do feel like it is making a positive difference.
Now, most people who are drug users know someone who's carrying one of these, and that's one of the biggest impacts, he says, right now. Firefighters carry these, police carry these, but also just people who are using on the streets oftentimes have access to these, and that's a big help. Live in Southeast Portland, Christina Giardinelli, K2 News.
Christina, thank you. And you can watch the entire interview with Portland Police right now by pointing your phone camera at the QR code on your screen. That'll take you right to the K2 News YouTube page.
Last week, Portland police referred nearly 80 people to deflection as part of a 5-day-long mission. They focused on crime, but also getting drug users support. On Monday, near Burnside and Southwest 12th, officers arrested 7 people. 13 people were taken to deflection. They recovered 17 grams of fentanyl. On Tuesday, around Couch Park, police arrested 3 people. 12 people were taken to deflection. Officers recovered nearly 7 grams of meth. On Wednesday in Old Town, officers arrested 2 people, served 19 warrants, and took 20 people to deflection. On Thursday in the central inner east side, officers arrested 6 people for crimes including failure to register as a sex offender, 9 people who had warrants, and took 13 people to deflection. Finally, on Friday, police teamed up with Oregon State troopers in the South Park blocks in Goose Hollow neighborhood on the west side. The grand total that day, a whopping 39 arrests, 20 deflections, and the recovery of nearly 22 grams of meth.
Another reason overdose deaths could be declining, more statewide services. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek addressed the downward trend during a news conference last week. She cited 70-plus new drug treatment beds in Portland, expanded harm reduction efforts statewide, expanded opioid treatment programs, and increased residential capacity across Oregon dedicated to substance use disorder treatment and withdrawal management.
So we are bringing access to the communities where they are, and I think that's helping us to reduce this. And then ultimately it's about helping people get better.
The governor says first it's about keeping people alive, then it's about giving them a place to go when they are ready for treatment.
Another possible contributor, opioid settlement funds. Since 2021, the Oregon Health Authority says Oregon has reached agreements on national lawsuits against several companies for their role in the opioid crisis. They include Johnson & Johnson, CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, Kroger, and more. Those settlements come out to $600+ million over 18 years for opioid prevention, treatment, and recovery. Stick with K2 for continuing coverage as we continue to track this trend. When we're not on the air, you can find updates on K2.com and our social media pages.